welcome back. This is the first in a series. I'm going to demonstrate. If you just want to do the Zendala part, that's perfectly fine. I just wanted to do a bit of a mixture of different tangles and showing you some techniques along the way that I use. Now, this one I did on just a simple piece of cardstock, one-sided cardstock. There's no other color added on here. All I'm using is my micron pens, a 0.05. The one would come in handy for filling in the backgrounds, but not necessary. I do use a 0.01 or a 0.03 for smaller details, but it just depends on how small you're working. You also need your graphite pencil and a blender. And really, those are the only supplies. I'm going to do the actual demonstration on white so that it shows up better. I'm going to show you how to make the separations. It's very, very easy. This whole project is so easy. But we're just going to take it step by step. So go slow, enjoy, and I'll walk you through it. So thanks for joining, and I hope you'll continue on and subscribe so that you get notification of when the next video is uploaded. I'm probably going to release them every other day. So that's my plan. So anyways, this is the first section where we'll actually lay the line work for our Zendala on a square with our border. And then we will move on section by section. So I hope you enjoyed the playlist, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. I wanted to mention before we start that I'm going to be demonstrating both the Zendala version and the square picture version. This is our final project that we are going to take tangle by tangle, and part one is today, and we're going to construct the outline, just sketching these lines, not the tangles, but just the basic form, our string that we're going to work with. I'm using a Canson. It's a hot pressed 140-pound paper. You can use really anything. I cut this down to 7 inches by 7 inches. I'll convert that to centimeters on the screen. Not good with centimeters. and so 7 inches by 7 inches. And that's what I'm working on. Now you can go bigger, you can go smaller, whatever you choose to do. As always, the one that I did here, the color that you see, the only color that is showing through is because I did this one on from a collection from Reflections. It's called Watercolor Aquarelle. I can't say it. Aquarelle. This is just 12 by 12 sheets. They are one-sided. I'm bumping the camera. They're one-sided. We're white on the back, and they're very light. It's not a heavy paper at all. I love this collection. There are so many wonderful papers to choose from, and it would have looked great on, I think, any one of these. I mean, I can see it on, I almost used this one, but I thought it just, the golds, I wasn't sure how I wanted to, I wasn't sure what I was going to construct yet. So really, it's a fun paper if you don't want to watercolor your background and you just want to start tangling. So I love this collection. So that's what I used on this one. Now, again, you choose your size, your paper, whatever you want to work with is just fine. This one has the Zendala in the middle, and I'll show you how I do this line It's a cool pencil trick I learned from Zentangle, and I love it. I use it. It's just so easy. And then I'm also going to show you how to create just a Zendala, because it fits right there. So if you want to just use the tile and not bother with anything else, you can still do this part, this middle section, but you don't have to do, you know, a big piece like this. So if you want to just do the Zendala, just, you know, copy the strokes on there. I'll show you how to make the string that we're going to work with to separate these sections. Very easy. And I wanted to mention that Zentangle.com also has pre-strung tiles. This is a pre-strung where they've already got a string for you. So if you don't want to mess with even making a string, you can get these from Zentangle, and they're 5x5s, and they've already got a string drawn for you. So it depends on what you want to do. So I'll just set that one aside. One other thing I wanted to mention is my idea for this piece is to put it into a frame. So this is just a wood frame I got off Amazon. And what I want to do is, if you are going to frame your work, make sure you test, like decide if you are going to use the mat, or if you're just going to, I don't want the glass to fall out. Nope, it's in there. If you're going to just put the piece in, you want to make sure that it fits. This one it's got a shadow box effect, so I can trim it a little at the, no, it fits perfectly, 7x7. So you can use it as a shadow box, just, and do the whole thing. Or you could also incorporate the mat that comes with the frame. Okay, I'm not going to try to get it back. Yes, I am. Okay. You could also incorporate the mat into your work. So what I decided is, on my finished piece, whatever frame size you're using, I want to decorate this border. Can't decide yet if I'll use, what technique I'll use yet. So I'm going to leave that open for the end, and it'll be a surprise for all of us because I haven't done it yet. So if you're watching this later, you can skip to, I don't know, part 10 and see what the final result was. That's a guess. So I like to use a 0.01 as well, to get some of the finer details, because I'm working small. You may choose to make this bigger. You might choose to do a 12x12, which is fine. Just make your tangles as big or as small as you want. So these three pens, the 1, the 0.05, and the 0.01, would be perfect. If you only have the 0.5, don't let it stop you. Or the 1, don't let it stop you. A graphite pencil, always we need for shading, and a blender, and an eraser. If you have any type of eraser, I've always talked about the Tombow Mono Zero. I'm using that for my eraser. And we're going to do a special technique that I learned, as I mentioned, through Zentangle, of how I create the ribbon effect. And I thought this was brilliant, and I just wanted to share with those of you who may not have seen it. Let me show you. I have got 2 mini Zentangle mini graphite pencils, and then as a spacer, I just put another pencil in between. It doesn't matter if it's white, it doesn't matter if it's orange, purple, whatever. This isn't the point. This is a spacer. And then you're going to tape them together so that these points are even. That's going to give you the room that you need for an exact ribbon. So when you use it like so, and just, you can kind of practice with this, you see how you get just kind of a ribbon effect. You can change it around. It's really cool to work with. So just kind of get the hang of, how this flows. And again, I'm using it in a very simple form because I'm just going to take it and simply make one stroke across the middle. going down and up. So I'm using it simple kinds of things. So that's a really fun trick. Don't worry if you don't have mini graphite pencils. Use regular pencils. Use 3 and put 1, either move it up or put it upside down, just as a spacer. It's holding these 2 apart. And tape them together with masking tape and make sure the sharpened edges are about the same. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So that's why I have these 2 here. It's only for this ribbon section. Free-handed. I took a Zendala and outlined it and then built everything around it. So there is no specific measuring really needed. The square, I just made corner pieces once I was done with the Zendala. So now the first thing, because I decided I want to work with a mat, my work area is going to be a little smaller. So I want to put, and I might tangle over the sides of these, but I want to make sure that I try to stay within that perimeter because I want to use the mat. If you don't want to use the mat and just want to go all the way to the edge, just move on to the circle and you'll be fine. But for me, I want to stay within this area so my mat will lay over this like so when I'm finished. And again, I'm drawing the same concept that I did here, but my circle is going to have to be smaller because on this one, I worked with the entire page. I just drew the circle first and then it grew out from that. Now I want to recreate this and put it in a frame, so I've got to condense it a little. So the way I'm going to do that is I don't have to draw the square border. The main thing I'm focusing on is the circle. So I'm going to go, I'm not good with measuring with a ruler. I'm much better eyeing things up. If you notice when I'm illustrating for my eyes, for my face, maybe that's why things are off, but that's how I do it. I work better by eye, not by measuring. So I'm just guessing at the middle to be about here, which is, yeah, that's about right. I guess it could be a little lower. All right, we'll go a little lower. A little bit lower. So now I am at here and here. That's close enough for me. So I'm going to use my compass to get my circle. You could use a lid, a top, whatever size circle you want yours to be. I'm just choosing to work with a compass because it will be easier for me to line up. So I'm going to put my point on that middle dot, of course, and I'm just kind of going around figuring out if I'm going to have room to add my tangles. I want to do toodles in the corner. I want to add some leaf work on the side. But again, all this can be adjusted. But I'm just making sure that I have enough room. And I think this looks about right. So, bump the camera, sorry. So I'm going to go with this as my circle. And just for reference. So we've got a square for our mat border. If you don't have the mat border, you can make your circle bigger and get the same effect. For the string, that's the first thing we're going to draw is our string for the sections. And the idea is we want these bends to go in the same direction. And that's really easy to do. Use your pencil and make just a small circle around your dot as a reference point. And just make sure you're turning in the same direction as you make these lines. Okay, so I'm going to start at one side of my circle, trace it around, and make it loop and come to the other side, like that. Now, whichever way you go is fine, but just keep going in the same direction. I'm going to turn mine right and give myself enough room, make a circle, and again, come around. This one's going to be a little shakier. I'll fix it later. So that's 2. And there's 3. Okay, and I'm turning one direction to make that 4th line. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections to work with. So that's my basic string. Now the only other line we're going to add to begin, don't worry about all of the other tangles right now. Don't worry about, are they going to fit? Don't worry about any of that. We're going to work on the ribbon that goes through, because that one is going to carry off the edge. And I will, you can go outside your perimeter, whatever you want to do. The ribbon is where you use this pencil trick. And again, this is just a spacer, and it is 2 pencils taped together with a spacer in between. And I demonstrated kind of how it works. But I want my string, for me personally, I'm kind of eyeing this up. I want it to come in maybe around here. I want to make a dip, go up and around and out. So it's very similar to what I did here, but just a little bit different. But just it's a nice even, space to work in. So now I want to erase the lines. Because I want my ribbon, I'm just going to make it simple. I can make this ribbon disappear and wrap in and tangle over this and then come out and wrap in again. That's another effect. That would be beautiful. But for this video, we're going to just keep it and learn to do the ribbon first. Once you learn to do these, you can have fun wrapping them in and out and all kinds of things. So let's go ahead and erase the lines within. This is a big area, so I don't mind my kneaded eraser. I'm going to erase my lines within the ribbon. So wherever my ribbon would actually cross over another string, I'm erasing that line so that I have one continuous ribbon. Okay, and I'm leaving the circle line there. But now my ribbon is just flat across my circle, and I'm going to tangle underneath. But it would look cool to have it go in, tangle over, have it come out, give it some dimension, go in again. That would look very cool, but I'm staying with what I said it was going to do. That's your basic string. So let's move on to inking a portion, and then we will do our first tangle, and that's where we'll leave it for part 1. Now this is the Zendala, so I want to do the same thing for those of you that just want to do a Zendala. I'm going to find the middle, and again I'm going to do that wrapping effect. I'm going to let the string go right off. You could stop it and make a border, but I'm going to go right off the page. A lot of people stop them right here and leave a border. I've done that in some art. I'll flash that on the screen. All right, and I want to go the same direction, so I'm going to turn so I get a bit of a curve. I'm trying to hit about here, so I need to twist a little bit more. Okay. Again, it's the fun of the surprise of what you get, and that's what makes it unique. No two are ever the same. So again, I want to come around and hit, I don't know, somewhere in here. And I'm just randomly getting different sizes. Okay, so there's your Zendala. Now notice I've got one bigger section, that's fine, but I've got 4 sections to work with. Now same concept is I'm going to come in with my ribbon And this one, I still want to get that dip. So I'm going down and I'm going up and off. With my eraser, I'm going to come in and just erase the lines where that ribbon is going over a section. Now this is assuming, like I said, that you just want to do this middle portion with no border, but you'll still get the ribbon effect and you'll still get the practice of these tangles and learn this tangle. So let's go back to erasing. And if you're unsure, step back and look at it. My ribbon is coming over this tangle, even though it would be cool to wrap under. So I want to erase this section. Once you learn this concept, then it's so much easier to take it to the next level and start intertwining things. All right, so there is my basic string if I were just doing the Zendala part. Now this one's a little bigger. So that is the idea for each of these separately. Okay, let's start with our tangle. It's really, the basic form is bales, and it's a grid tangle, meaning that you work in a row of squares or triangles or whatever. That's a grid tangle. So being that it's a grid tangle, I'm going to just sketch because I want to keep it even. I'm not just freestyle tangling, whatever. A grid tangle is when you want to space things evenly. It can be at an angle. It can be straight across, whatever you choose to do. When I look at this one, I'm thinking I'm not paying attention to the curves. I'm thinking about the grid. So I want to make a straight line right here. And see, this would tuck under my ribbon, so I'm not going to pay attention. I'm spacing these out to give me enough room so that I can make that flowering effect. Now this was a bigger section, so I was able to make, I made 1, 2, actually made 3 curved lines on this grid. But this one I'm going to go straight. I'm working smaller. So this one is about this size. So that's good enough. Now I'm going to turn it, and I want to make straight lines across so that I have a reference for the other side. And again, just kind of estimating what would be proportionally even. It doesn't have to be exact. This one I'm going to start here and go across, and that's really enough. I will fill in this little corner piece on its own once I see the design. So that's your grid to begin this Tangle Bales, and it's very easy to construct from this. Because of the size of my circle, this size, I was very comfortable using a 0.05 to make the shapes. Because I have gone down in size, I want to go down a little bit in my pen just to make it easier, and then I can, weight the line or darken the line depending on how it goes. So we're going to start with our seed shape. If you've watched bales before, just a little half tiny circle on one side of the line, and begin here and do another, and then do another, but this is not quite complete, so I'm not gonna point it at the end. See, if I'm coming on the other side and I'm doing a half little tiny oval, and so it's going under this section here. So I'll do it again. This one is a full one, and again this one is a full one to me. So there's my first 3 little seed shapes. Don't worry about over here yet. Okay, move on to where you have another full section and make your seed shape. Now this one's starting to cut off a little, so I could have just kind of widened it down here, but tucking is again my problem. Okay, going around here, I'm going to stop because that little corner doesn't show, so I'll start at the point up here, come down. So this is just basic bales, but we're fitting it into a grid pattern. This one is really not a full one at all, so I'll just make it go off and off, still keeping them somewhat of the same dimension, not necessarily trying to, compact squeeze it in here. You could, it's just a different look. So coming around here, this one almost makes it, but not quite. And over here. Okay, so I've done my basic ones going this way. Turn your page and let's do it again. This one I imagine is a full one. And I can do them at the same time. I could just go down one side. However you choose to do it is fine. Some people draw a straight line following that grid pattern and then draw these lines around. You can do that too. I just tend to like to go around and leave some options open for the middle. Okay, so I've got my, well, nope, I don't. Oh, Lorie. It's all right. We work with whatever mark we make. Do not worry about it. All right, so now I've got just the foundation of bales right there. All right, now I want to take it a step further. I want to, this time, go from here to here. Or if you wanted them to go this way, you could go from here to here. I'm going this way. So I want, and you could draw your line first, so you have your direction. I'll put it in here. You could draw a line there and then make your half circles around each side. You could put a pencil mark in if you're more comfortable. I'm going to turn it and do the same thing over here. Okay, and this one is not going to be quite a full leaf. Make a line. Go around there. And then this one would go from here to here. And these could be curved too. You don't have to make them straight. And here's the end of my first section. So I just am paying attention to that. There's nothing wrong with outlining these if you want to. Not a problem. Okay, so this one is not quite a full one. It's going to come around and off. So now I have made it more interesting by adding those extra petals. All right, let's do this side. This side is cutting off a bit, but at the angle, it almost looks like a full leaf. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to look good. And turn it that way. And this one, I think it looks like it's almost there, but not quite. So I won't make the point at the end. And I did this 2 different ways, and I know how I'm going to just draw these lines in so that it's not confusing. You may have started with lines on your grid, and that's what this would have looked like. I did not do the lines first. See those grid lines underneath? Some people draw those lines first and then do the half circle around. So I'll just make everything the same. Okay. I'm sorry if that was confusing. Okay. So where have I got some open spaces left? I've got one here. I'm going to make my middle lines. Okay, I've got one here. So I will make a partial one and complete that one. You kind of know for this tangle, I'm looking at the triangles and saying, okay, I've got all the leaves I want for this tangle here. So I don't get confused. There's a triangle here, there's a triangle here, 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 here. Okay, down here, this is a triangle, but I still feel like it could use one more. And this one, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But see, it's point to point. So for this one, I mean, you could do other things in between here. I like complicating it and putting little flowers underneath, winding under. But for just the top part, this is good enough. Okay, this one, see, I have this little tiny section right here that is part of this section. Let's outline this just so we can see it on camera. Usually you just tangle and your strings fall over each other and it gives you some options for layering. But I want you to see distinctly, this here is a section. So I want to just pretend, how would I do that? I'll just put a line here and just a partial side so that it gives the effect that it's coming under the ribbon. As easy as that. All right, so let's go to shading this section. Okay, so for shading, we're going to shade, lay it down darker at the corners. Just at the corners, lay down that graphite of each of these petals. Now, if there's anywhere that I think that the graphite went, too far, I can just brighten up, bring it back with my eraser. Maybe even a bit of an angle. tighten them up. Alright, so there's my bales, my basic shape. If you want to make your outlines of your original string, you could do that to just kind of keep track of where you're working. The only reason I don't make outlines when I'm tangling on my own is I don't want to be committed, really. I mean, nothing is ever for sure, but if I want to carry something over, I don't want this line there. I want to have options. And you always have options. I just like to make it easier, and I don't like to do my final line work until I know what I think I'm doing. And I'm just going to darken. You can darken one side. You could choose to darken the middle. Just make some variance in line weight. So that it lifts them up even more, because we're going to shade just a bit underneath. Not even with pencil, just with what's left on our graphite, on our tortillon, on our blender. So I just want a real strong definition here. I might even go dark just to make this stand out. It's personal choice. Okay? And if you want to outline your ribbon at this point too, you can do that. I just keep turning so that I can see, making it more comfortable for my hand to follow that line. If you try to do it in one stroke, it's going to be harder. So always keep turning your work. Now if yours is going off the page, continue it right off the page. Even if I did, it wouldn't matter because I'm putting the mat over it. So I'll do the other side here. All right, so there is your basic string and your first tangle, and we'll just go in with, I've got a lot of graphite on this blender. If you don't, either put some pencil down on a piece of paper like so, and roll your graphite, your blender, your tortillon in that, and then you can put in a lighter amount of graphite underneath in case you have a heavy hand with the pencil and you don't want it to all darken up. That's an easier way to protect yourself. Sometimes it's hard to control how heavy you put that pencil line in. So if I just want a light graphite effect, I like to work off the paper, picking up graphite on my blender more than laying it down with the graphite pencil first. So that's just giving them a little bit more dimension. It doesn't mean we're finished with them. We can go back and, make that shadow deeper as this grows. We can make it darker here so that it either tucks under the next tangle or this tangle might go over. We'll decide that as we go. All right, for the Zendala part, I want to just do a Zendala so that I can show you both ways. I need to do a grid pattern again. So I'm going to start looking at this. You could go any way. I think I'm going to start here and just make my lines. Here. I just want the seed shapes that form the bales to be bigger. Okay, and this one, what is this line here? This was an eraser mark? Or was this my, no, this was my, this is my border. So leaving that pencil line there could confuse me. So I want to highlight this. So I remember this is my border, this is my ribbon. That way I won't forget. Okay. This one is, it's really on the edge there, but I like that little black contrast we had, so I'm going to make a line there. All right, to make these a grid pattern of any size, I just want to make them the horizontal lines go across. These could be curved too, which would give you a whole nother effect, but that's good enough. There's my grid to work in. Now, if you were doing it, like I was saying, by drawing the lines, this is another way to do bales, is to draw the line and draw the seed shapes, the half circles, as you go. If you find that easier, that's fine too. So I just draw my section in, half circle. It's not even a circle, half oval. It looks like a shape of rice. And here, okay, and then I've got, whoops, this section. And I went a little off my line there, but no worries. This one is just a partial one. This one is a full one. And let's see, I've also got this one going this way. I like to do all the ones going in one direction. It's just easier to keep track of. But you'll find your own ways of tangling. Whatever is more relaxing for you works, okay? That is our end of our section. And this over here is the end of this section. So I'll put the line in just so I remember. So we still have 1, 2, 3 sections left. And this is our ribbon. Okay, and this section here is coming under the ribbon. So that's where this one starts. And this is the end of this section here. All right, let's turn it. Oh, I see I have, nope, because again, this is part of this section. So now I've got my bales. Then I'm going to go this way. I'll start with the line, a little half circle. I'm sorry, I'm not used to doing a line. I always leave them open. Okay, line, half circle, or oval, making a seed shape. Okay, and then I've got this line. Okay, now we can do our angles. So just pick a point, cross over, and make a leaf, a seed. This one I don't see it going. I'm going to end it like that, like it's going off the page, off the tile. Here's one. There's another one. Just corner to corner. This one I could go this way or I could go this way. So I'll go this way and leave it like that. There's room for one here, so I will just cross it as if it's going to meet up with this one. And I have one that could go here, stop at the ribbon, and not quite complete it. So that's that one. This one here, I'm still within my section, so I want one to cross out here. Okay, and then just step back and look. If you feel like you want to put more in, go ahead and do it. It's however far you want to go. So at this is where I'm going to stop. But see, I could even make them, make a few more. There's just no rules. So this is just where I'm stopping for this demo. All right, now go ahead and shade that, and then we will have I'll outline the ribbon, but we'll have the same thing on a Zendala and on our piece that we're going to frame. Before I shade that one, I just wanted to show you on a Zendala, you can also leave a bit of a border that you can do different things on. So I was working very small here. I have love, joy, faith, hope, gratitude, peace, kindness, and this is just a tree. That's just an example of ways you can go with your Zendala. You can leave a border. There's so many things you can do. So back to shading. Okay, now let me just show you an easier way. The jelly roll goes over black beautifully when it's dry. It does not go over graphite very well. So I'm going to just take out, if you don't want to use a permanent like pen, this Dr. P.H. Martin's pen white or something of that level. You can also just erase, you know, as much graphite as you can get out of there in the center. Or you could avoid it in the beginning altogether. I'm just going to take out a little bit. This one I did use I believe the pH white. Okay, so that'll just make it a little bit easier. So when you go in with your white, it has a better chance of showing up. But it's still not that pop white if you just drew a circle and left a space there, or if you went back with the alcohol marker, it would show up better. So that is just an idea. Okay, so basically that is part one. We laid our foundation for a picture. We also demonstrated what it would look like on a Zendala tile. And I'm going to do these in sections. So part two, if you're watching this at the time of release, I'm going to release them every other day. For if you're watching this in the future, the whole playlist will be available. But I wanted to make a playlist dedicated to this project, so that's why I'm doing it in pieces. So it's short segments. So this is part one. And if you're in the future, go ahead to part two, and we will continue with our next tangle, which will be over here, and we'll do it on the Zendala as well, and we'll move on. So I'm gonna see you in the next one. So just for now, I will say thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.